Chris Zanon is here from Fortis Energy Services. He's the Rocky Mountain Regional Sales Manager. He recently participated as a keynote speaker in the Young Professionals group in Bismarck, YPE group, and he is going to talk to you a little bit about that talk before the group, and also a little bit about the Fortis for Vets hiring initiative as well. Chris, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. Now, how do you say your last name? I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly.
It's actually pronounced Zanon, but I'm kind of used to it being butchered.
Zanon, yeah. Well, I'm guilty as charged on the butcher.
Scott was probably the very first one to ever do that, though, right?
Yeah, never.
No.
Yeah.
No. I've got used to listening for all different variations of my last name. So.
All right, Zanon, we got her down. I understand you also met with Congressman Kramer recently to share some ideas on improving employment opportunities for veterans at the Veterans Advisory Board meeting he held in Minot last week. So we got a lot of ground to cover for you. Let's start with the YPE event in Bismarck, in which you talked about the award-winning Fortis for Vets hiring initiative. First of all, what is it?
Well, it's a program that we developed to try to help veterans returning from active duty service and help employ veterans who are serving in the National Guard and Reserves. A quote from our CEO, hiring veterans, it's the right thing to do. That's the quote directly from Nathan Conway, our CEO, and it's kind of taken off like wildfire.
That's great. I know that that Fortis, this program itself, has won a number of accolades for the help it's given veterans and reservists and Guard members as well, including the World Oil 2015 winner for Best Outreach Program, and also the ASE HR Executive of the Year. So you guys are getting some note for this, which is fantastic. Do we need? I mean, in other words, industry wide, is this something we could do better to recruit vets to the Bakken?
100%. I mean, it's a good fit all the way around. I mean, being a veteran, I'm a little biased, but you get quality people. They're used to teamwork. They're used to performing under pressure. They're easily adaptable to ever-changing oil field. It works great for us, and we're helping to give a little bit back. Currently, we're proud to say that 10% of Fortis's workforce is made up of veterans.
That's pretty darn good. That really is. Now,
yeah.
Before we pivot to talk a little bit about the Veterans Advisory advice for Congressman Kramer, I want to give Tim a chance to ask you a question on the vets program too. Tim, anything?
Yeah, Chris, sir, thank you so much for serving in the U.S. Marine Corps. You spoke a little bit about how being in the military prepares someone. Tell me, if you can, what it's like to have been in the military and to have military people working for you.
Quite honestly, I've said forever, if I could work with a group of veterans, it's pretty easy. I mean, you tell them, you put them on a task and they do it. No arguing, no procrastinating, because that's kind of bred into you in the military. It really has been an honor to be recognized by the YPE and asked by Congressman Kramer to be on the advisory board. But I'm kind of a fish out of water. I mean, I was very humbled to be sitting at the same table as Clinton Romeshay, Medal of Honor recipient. I mean, I hope I didn't geek out too bad. But,
no, he is. I don't blame you one bit. I geek out every time I see the guy. I think that's nothing more extraordinary. His whole story and now starting a business, which I think is cool as well. And I know that was part of the topics that came up, this week at last week rather, at the Congressman Kramer's Veterans Advisory Service Committee gathering. Veterans Advisory Committee is the group that he meets with regularly, and there was some talk about veteran-owned businesses. But no, your Clinton Romeshay is a dandy. I'm with you there, Chris, without question. So, speaking of improving employment opportunities, again, same thing, same focus before the Veterans Advisory Board meeting. Talk about I know the plan was to focus on programs to improve entrepreneurship and job opportunities for veterans. You were asked by the congressman to sit on that advisory committee, so you get to work on this going forward now, which ties in very well with what you've been doing on the Fortis for Vets program. What's job one?
I don't have an answer to that. I'll wait for instructions. I was very. I met some really motivated, highly energetic people who are all on the same page. Uma Hoffman, she's a HR director for Steps Corporation, and Tyler Okerlund, he works for the Center of Innovation with UND, and he kind of spearheaded this program with some help from others. Like I said, I'm just very flattered that they value my opinion, and great group of folks. Congressman Kramer has done great things for the state of North Dakota, both in energy and for veterans. I mean, I'm very humbled to be a part of this group.
So as the sales manager for Fortis Energy, let's just talk a little shop here for a minute. You obviously a veteran, as we mentioned. I don't know that we've told folks that you are not just a veteran, but a Marine. And nothing like a leatherneck. 8 years of service with the U.S. Marine Corps, and now 20 years of sales experience in the oil and gas industry. So, I know you can weather tough times, but one would argue that the prices have things in a challenging time for folks. Give me a little take on the landscape right now in the Bakken.
Well, in tough times, you can't quit. You can't give up. You got to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And we're turning over every rock we can to try to keep our rigs busy. We have a great team at Fortis. All the way from our CEO down to the newest hand we've hired. I'm very glad to be such a part of such a winning team. It's tough. I mean, the market's rough, and currently we're doing better than most. There's definitely a fine line between surviving and growing a business, but you get a bunch of motivated individuals around you, and there's only one direction you're going to go.
People, right? So it's
Absolutely.
People, it's attitude, it's we can do this. Tim, one last question for our guest.
Yeah, Chris, I see that I know that you guys do quite a bit with workover rigs. With the amount of wells that are out there, do you see the workover rig business increasing in the Bakken, and does that specifically put you in a good position?
It's probably one of the safer jobs to have in the oil field today. They could stop turning to the right tomorrow, and they'll still have producers that they need to work over, replace rods and tubing. It's a very safe job to be. I've always said the safest job in the oil field is selling artificial lift equipment, because as long as there's a need for hydrocarbons, you'll be pumping them out of the ground. And I'll tell you this, and I've said this numerous times over and over, anybody that's working in the oil field today ought to thank their lucky stars and work hard every day, because, I don't know if it said it in my bio, but I was laid off, and that's tough, and it really opens your eyes and humbles you quite a bit when you got bills to pay.
Fascinating conversation. Thanks for all your work. Thanks for your service, first of all, as a vet, without question, but thanks for all your work in getting other vets to work as part of this Fortis for Vets program, Chris. I think it's great, and glad to hear you're on Congressman Kramer's Veterans Advisory Board as well. That'll be great. Thanks a bunch.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Thank you, gentlemen.
Chris Zanon, how'd I do?
Perfect.
Yeah, Chris Zanon, Rocky Mountain Sales Manager for Fortis Energy Services, our guest on Energy Matters.